Every time you look up at the empty night sky, you are actually staring into the ghostly graveyard of a dead universe.
We've all been told that everything started with a single, sudden spark of creation. But the truth is far stranger, and honestly, a lot more unsettling.
Think about the unimaginable future when every single star has finally burned out. Eventually, even the supermassive black holes will evaporate into absolute nothingness. What's left is a completely empty void where time and distance lose all meaning. Without any scale to measure things, the freezing, dead end of one universe mathematically becomes the exact same thing as the hot, dense beginning of a brand new one.
Normally, our math just breaks down at the Big Bang, falling into this impossible trap of infinite density. But there's a concept called loop quantum cosmology that offers a way out. It suggests that space itself isn't perfectly smooth. Instead, it's made of finite, indivisible pixels, kind of like zooming too far into a digital photograph. Because of this, you simply cannot compress reality down to an infinite point. Space actively refuses to be crushed into nothingness.
This creates a violent, eternal rhythm. Billions of years ago, an older universe, just like ours, grew old and started to collapse inward. It crushed its galaxies and stars together until it hit that absolute, pixelated limit of space. And at that extreme limit, gravity suddenly reversed itself, turning into a repulsive force. What we've always called the Big Bang was actually a big bounce. Our entire reality is built on the explosive debris of a cosmos that was literally crushed to death. Human intuition practically demands that something must have created the universe. But in the strange, unsettling realm of quantum mechanics, absolute nothingness just doesn't exist. Even a perfect vacuum is actually boiling with phantom energy. It's constantly ripping virtual particles right out of the void and destroying them a split second later. It's a restless, phantom energy that simply cannot be stopped. So how does an entire universe pop out of this bubbling void without breaking the laws of physics? The answer is a cosmic zero-sum game. The energy of all the matter and radiation in existence is positive, but the energy of the gravitational fields pulling it all together is inherently negative. When you add all the positive matter to all the negative gravity, the total sum is exactly zero. Our universe literally equals absolute nothing. Because of this zero-sum game, the universe is, mathematically speaking, the ultimate free lunch. Before our cosmos began, a microscopic bubble of spacetime randomly fluctuated into existence from the void. By pure statistical chance, this temporary glitch inflated at blinding speed before it could collapse back into nothing. There was no grand design. Our entire reality is nothing more than an accidental quantum error that the void just failed to correct. Now, I want you to imagine our universe as a solitary, dead sheet of paper. This represents what physicists call a brane, a three-dimensional membrane floating invisibly in a massive space called the bulk. We are completely trapped on the surface of this paper. We are utterly blind to the terrifying, hyper-dimensional space that surrounds us in the dark. We cannot see what is drifting silently right beside us. But we aren't alone in that dark room. There's a theory called the ekpyrotic model, which suggests our dead, empty brain hung right next to a parallel universe. Over vast stretches of time, a weak gravitational pull drew these two invisible sheets together. Then they smashed into each other across a fourth dimension. The sheer kinetic flash of this titanic collision instantly filled our universe with blinding plasma. That unseen, catastrophic impact is what we actually call the Big Bang. After the collision, those two parallel universes bounced off each other and are currently drifting apart. But that dark, attractive force still connects them. Once our universe expands, cools down, and eventually dies again, those sheets will reverse course. They will be pulled right back together through the dark bulk. We're trapped on a membrane that is guaranteed to be struck again. We are doomed to be wiped out in a brand new fire of creation. To balance the fundamental symmetries of physics, reality requires a mirror. The laws of quantum mechanics demand perfect balance in charge, space, and time. But our universe is mostly made of normal matter, and our time marches relentlessly forward. That creates a massive imbalance. To fix the mathematical equations, the Big Bang must have fractured reality into two opposite temporal directions at the exact moment of creation. Radiating outward in the completely opposite direction is a twin universe made entirely of antimatter. But the most unsettling part is that its time flows backward relative to ours. The void before the Big Bang wasn't empty space at all. It was the timeline of an entirely different universe flowing backward, away from ours. we are tethered to a dark mirror. For every single second we move forward, they step backward into the dark. Let's shift our perspective and imagine space as a false vacuum. This is a high-energy, incredibly unstable state that's doubling in size every tiny fraction of a second. Think of it like a violently boiling pot of water. Every now and then, a pocket of this expanding void drops to a lower energy state. It suddenly stops inflating and dumps all its energy, creating a massive bubble of reality. That sudden burst of dumped energy is what we call a Big Bang. Infinite Big Bangs are happening forever in this boiling ocean of space, birthing endless multiverses. But the space between these bubbles is expanding so incredibly fast that they can never, ever touch. We are completely isolated. We are sealed inside a single, unreachable bubble, doomed to float in an expanding ocean we will never be able to see. If we trace reality back to the absolute boundary of theoretical physics, we find something called the string landscape. Here, string theory requires extra hidden dimensions to make the math work. These dimensions are folded into microscopic, unseen geometries all around us. And the specific random shape of these folded dimensions is exactly what dictates the laws of physics for an entire universe. 10 to the 500th power. This incomprehensibly massive number completely dwarfs the total number of atoms in our observable reality. These are the possible mathematical configurations for how dimensions can fold and how universes can form. The landscape before our universe was a hyperdimensional engine. It was constantly generating trillions of universes, each dropping blindly into one of these mathematical possibilities. But most of these trillions of generated universes are born dead. If gravity is just slightly stronger, the new universe instantly crushes itself into a black hole. If the strong nuclear force is slightly weaker, atoms can never even form. The vast, overwhelming majority of these mathematical possibilities are sterile, chaotic voids. Reality is a terrifying engine of alien possibilities that almost always end in immediate failure. This brings us to the chilling concept of cosmic survivorship bias. Why is our universe perfectly tuned to allow for life? It isn't because of some grand, welcoming design. We are just the ultimate survivorship bias on a cosmic scale. The universe didn't begin in order to create us. We simply happened to grow in a microscopic mathematical crack in the landscape. It was one of the only places where the math then instantly crushed us out of existence. If our entire reality is just a temporary mathematical glitch floating in an infinite graveyard of dead universes, does anything we do actually matter?